we on? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Southwick, day 4 here of the Women's Golf Croquet World Championship. And this morning we've got on our show lawn, we've got Judith Hanacom from South Africa, and she's playing Kim Dallin from Scotland. So they're just warming up at the moment, and they'll start playing in a few minutes. Enjoy.
Well, good morning everyone. Welcome back to Southwick and the Women's 2023 Golf Croquet World Championships. My name is Andrew Hobbs. I'll be doing a bit of commentary this morning for the first session. At the moment I'm by myself. I'm not sure if anyone will be joining me just yet. So hopefully I can keep you informed of what's been going on. On lawn 1, the first game up is versus Judith Hanacom from South Africa. She's playing against Kim Dallin from Scotland. They're busy in the process of warming up. They get a 10-minute warm-up and should be scheduled to start at about 9:30. For those of you who don't know, today is the final day of the block play. This means that there are a lot of players vying for positions between 1, 2, 3 and 4. The top 4 of the block will go through to the knockout, so there's a lot to play for today. Some of the blocks are pretty open, so this is the best way to put it. And after speaking to Mike this morning, he says he does know that there are a couple of people in some who've already qualified for the blocks. However, they don't know what order or seeding they will be in at the end of today, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's also a couple of other players playing today, finishing up matches from last night, which could influence the order of the blocks, and it should be quite interesting today to see who goes through. Bear with me, I'm just loading up the YouTube. Morning Fran, welcome to the live stream. So at the moment, due to start session 1, I'll wait for the train. Due to start session 1 today on lawn 1. As I've said, it's Judith Hanacom versus Kim Dallin. We've got Debbie Lyons versus Kathy Brown on lawn 2. Lawn 3 hasn't started yet because they're waiting for another game to finish. Morning, you alright, Richard?
I'm not joining you on commentary at the moment. I'm just
online.
Yeah,
Okay.
what I'm about to say will be quite okay on there, I think. If something interesting happens on lawn 1 that you're covering, I'll make a refereeing decision, and obviously can't quite see the action, I'll come over afterwards and let you know what it was.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And we've got on lawn 4 M Taylor versus G Lambeck, lawn 5 A Mustafa versus K Davidson Perrins, lawn 6 and lawn 7 they're still awaiting some games from yesterday. Lawn 8 is M Chesley versus P Gonzalez de Aguila. Lawn 9 will be S Lightbody and S Framain, and then we're still waiting for some games to finish on lawn 10 and 11, which will hopefully finish up. Those players who are finishing games from yesterday got here very early this morning at about 8:30, and which is a very early start time to try and make sure that we finish at a reasonable time tonight, depending what happens within the block play. So, lawn 1 game has started. Kim won the toss and has played blue towards hoop 1 and is slightly on the nearer side of the boundary side, maybe 2 feet past the hoop, which I think, if you don't get directly in hoop position, is a nice place to be because you have a clearing opportunity with it clearing away from the short boundary. All 4 balls have been played. Blue and black on the near side, and Kim's looking like she's going to be trying to clear red because red's in a fairly good position to try and run the hoop at the moment. If there's anybody new watching the stream or looking at croquet for the first time, this format is called golf croquet. We tend to play in colour order sequence, so if blue, starting with blue, then red, then black and then yellow, and we try and follow that sequence so you all get a chance to play the balls. In singles you have colour pairs, so you have black and blue, which would be one colour pair for one player, and yellow and red would be for the other player. Judith has just promoted what we call promotion, putting red in front of the hoop using a yellow ball. Didn't quite get the block on blue, so Kim has a chance to try and run the first hoop. And clean through, 1-0 to Kim. The players are now playing up to hoop 2. Hoop 2 is quite close to the commentary area, and in the past when we've been chatting or commenting or saying things, the players have heard heard us. So what I'm going to try and do while we round hoop 2 is I'll try and keep as quiet as possible, so as not to distract the players. That's a nice ball from Judith, and Kim has put another ball, her black ball, up there. They're both in runnable positions. So I would think that Judith's probably going to try and play yellow closer to hoop 2. That way it gives her the option to maybe clear the black with her red ball. Kim went for the clearance, it seemed to have just missed red. So red to play. Yeah, because yellow is in good position, a hoop runnable position, Judith is going to try and clear black towards the boundary, leaving a long shot and a difficult clearance. It looks like she was trying to get red on the clearance in the way of yellow and black. I don't think she's managed to get that right. Obviously it is a tough shot to get right. Kim's just double checking that she can run the hoop, take the halfway marker peg out so she's got a clean backswing.
Good morning.
Morning, Keith. How are you?
I'm very well, Andrew. So, what's been happening?
Well, we've just started. I'm trying to keep a little bit quiet because I'm hoop 2. Kim managed to run hoop 1 from a good distance, and they've been tussling it out over hoop 2. Looks like Judith is about to run it.
Okay.
So Judith has run
1-1.
hoop 2. It's now 1-1. And Kim's got first chance at hoop 3.
So how are the standings in this block are you?
I can tell you in a
You're in
moment.
control of those?
Yes, I can find out. As I was saying earlier in the commentary, it's an interesting day.
Yeah, I've had a quick flick through the block standings as they were overnight, and it looks as though there's some potential for playoffs later.
Yes. I was speaking to Mike this morning, and he was saying that the couple of blocks, they know some of the qualifiers already, but they don't know which order they'll be qualifying in, because
Right.
it's dependent on some of the players winning or losing today. And there are also a couple of blocks where the third and fourth spot is still very, very much open, and a number of players can play for those spots, with a couple of players on 2 wins or fighting for that third win.
So block order matters, doesn't it? As I understand
It seems, yes, it does seem to
So
be.
how do they decide block order? Say they knew the 4 qualifiers, but there were ties amongst the 4 qualifiers, how's that resolved, do you know?
I think it goes on, number of wins first.
Okay, so they don't have playoffs to decide order, they just have, do they?
I'm not sure whether they're in playoffs.
Just to decide qualifiers.
I'll
I'm
check
sorry,
now.
I'm asking
No,
you-
I'm just
asking you
checking.
difficult questions.
So I was looking in the program earlier. I just want to see if it says anything in there with regards to that.
Meanwhile, Kim's got a chance to go 2-1 up.
Okay, so in the program it says that the top four players from each block will go through into a knockout, and there'll be playoffs for the qualification if required.
For qualification?
Yeah.
Right.
So I take it if they don't have the top 4, then, and there's a couple of players on the same number of wins that have to have the playoff to see who goes through.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now this is interesting, it looks as though she's trying to rush peel this. I know, she's trying to get it in the jaws maybe.
I think she was looking to cut it into the jaws. Maybe it was just to
Looks like red's got a clearance on black now.
and if lucky, might clear blue at the same time.
Well, number 1 was clear black, wasn't it?
Yes,
So black
she's
can't-
done that.
Black can't clear yellow as easily. And I think Judith's qualified already, I believe. Is that right?
Judith at the moment is on 3 wins.
Ah, okay. Is this her last game? Or
This is her last game
Okay.
at the moment. In her group, this is Block F. The top seed is Pauline Salib from Egypt, and she's on 6 wins.
Okay, she's
So
finished. Yeah.
presumably she has qualified.
Yeah.
Judith is on 3 wins. And then we have Ashley Cook from New Zealand on 4 wins. And then you've got Maria Taylor on 1 win, Gerda Lambeck on 1, and Liz Drury on 2 wins. So it looks like there's a spot open there, depending on how the results go today for certain players. So Judith has made
Yeah, she's 2-1
Group
up.
3, is now 2-1 up.
Judith's a previous winner of this event.
Yes, a past winner, I think when it was in Cairo.
Yeah. That's a good win.
Yeah, I've heard it's very tough to play over there, and I think they play under floodlights a lot as well because it's so hot during the day.
That's right. I've also heard that. We've got lots of players, lots of clubs, lots of competition. So,
Yes.
it's a good breeding ground for strong players.
I have been watching a lot of the Egyptians this week, and they look very, very strong, and they don't seem to be scared of hoops, whether they're angled or long, or whether they need to jump. They definitely play an aggressive style of golf croquet, and they play it well. Yes, so Judith won the World Golf Croquet Championships in Cairo in 2014.
So do you play much golf croquet?
I do. I'm more of an AC background. I started playing AC first. Dabbled with a bit of golf croquet many, many years ago, and then focused on association croquet longer. But then I did choose to start playing both in about 2000, 2001. And I now try and play both formats of the sport as much as I possibly can. I think Kim, who's playing at the moment against Judith, recently started croquet during COVID.
Oh, right.
Or during the COVID
Right. That is recent.
time a couple of years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's fairly new to the game. But she actually plays a lot of curling up in Scotland, and she's
Right.
represented Scotland at the Four Nations tournament
Brilliant.
over the last 2 years, and helps with the curling development in Kinross in Scotland.
So how's the YouTube channel looking? Are we getting any comments?
We've had
Any
one comment
fans?
from Fran this morning, saying good morning. I haven't had anything else just yet. But
Any fans from Kinross tuning in at the moment?
if there are, let us know.
I'm sure Judith's got a big fan club back in South Africa.
Yeah. I had a message from William Lowe yesterday.
Oh, yes.
Saying he wished he could be here watching.
Uh-huh.
So asking how Judith was getting on. And Judith originally, we started playing croquet together at Somerset West many, many years ago.
Right. Is that near Cape Town?
Yes.
The,
Yeah, it's
initiate?
about half an hour to 40 minutes drive from Cape Town.
Right.
Yeah. When we started there, they had 2 lawns. I think they've now got 3, possibly 4 lawns at Somerset West Croquet Club now.
Is it just a croquet club or is it a sports club?
It's a croquet club.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they are tied in with a sports club called Radloff Park, which is in the same area. It's probably about half a mile. The main clubhouse, Radloff Park, is about half a mile from Somerset West Croquet Club, and they play a lot of hockey in the winter and cricket in the summer there.
Right.
Many, many years ago. I'm not sure whether they have amalgamated or not. I'd have to ask Judith that.
Well, I would say Kim's in control of his hoop at the moment, but she'd have been better off. It's a lot better off if Black had managed to get a good position then, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Because that's a good clearance from Judith. Keeping yellow nearby to control
Now,
control black.
Chris Clark and I were discussing this on a Monday about when you're at the middle hoops.
Yeah.
You want to clear positively,
Right.
but you don't necessarily need to hit it very, very hard to the boundary, because you'd rather keep control of the hoop or keep your balls within a 4 to 7 yard shooting distance around the hoop.
Okay.
Sometimes if you try and hit them too hard at the middle hoops and you slightly errant, your ball could fly off and leave you with a much longer shot, which gives you added pressure on your next clearance.
Well, that was the situation there, wasn't it? A couple of goes ago, Judith had cleared black, but on the side, and ended up well north. And if Kim had managed to come back into position, she might have got another hoop then.
Kim's tried to get close to the hoop, trying to force the block.
Yeah, she's blocked yellow having a go.
Yeah, I think Judith's probably going to try and clear this.
It's got to be a clearance on the left side, presumably.
Yeah.
From her point of view.
That's a good clearance.
Yeah, very good.
And the beauty of that is if Judith does get the chance to run the hoop, because of the way she's cut yellow off black, she would have a good chance at the next hoop.
Yeah, Kim's
However, Kim's
spotted
that and made sure that she's left Judith with a longish hoop, very long hoop
possibly
from
no
the boundary.
shot. Well, maybe not. I just wonder if blue is actually blocking red, but I don't think it is quite. But she's probably just going to come back in, do you think? Or is it worth actually having a go? Oh, well, she's taking position.
Taking position.
And that looks pretty
like
good.
A nice, good shot.
That will need clearing, but it's looking like Kim's lining up a clearance now. Don't you normally clear with blue?
Yeah, I would
first
try and
then
get position
clear
if
with
possible, and then try and clear with blue.
Yeah.
That way, at least you can keep the pressure on.
Yeah, Kim's starting to lose control of this hoop.
Paul Warner, good morning. Paul from New Zealand, he's just tuned in. And Paddy Chapman, morning Paddy. He's saying that Judith has such a nice technique. It does look very relaxed, and I think she's had that technique since I've known her. It's very, very consistent.
Yeah, good morning Paddy. I'll give a big shout out to the whole Chapman family, who used to be members at my club in Nottingham. There's Paddy and Miranda, and their children, Ollie, who's just turned 10, and Matilda, who's 7.
That's a lovely age.
Yeah, they were over in England for about just over 10 years, and then moved back to New Zealand during the COVID times. So, a few moments ago I was sort of speculating that Kim had control of this hoop, and I would say Judith now has control.
Well, that's a good clearance.
Well, that's nice, double clearance, yeah. Certainly stops yellow running the hoop.
Mm-hmm.
And has made
red is quite angled.
Yeah, it's made it much more difficult for red. Now, have you had a go with these hoops?
Yes, I have.
Where was that?
I'm a member of Dallin.
Oh, yes.
And they have a set of quadways.
Oh, right.
So we went up Friday before the tournament started, and they'd set the quadways to the standard, and we were having a go in practice.
And how did you find them?
I don't mind them. I find them very, very unforgiving if you are inaccurate. But if you are accurate and you're swinging smoothly, they tend to run pretty well and pretty consistently. However, we've had a lot of rain, so I know that with a softer ground, that can happen with the quadways. And I've heard that if you're playing on really, really, really dry, firm ground, these hoops can be really, really tough.
I think that applies to just about any hoop, in my experience.
I think the main difference for me is with these compared to the old cast iron hoops is that if you do hit it slightly off centre, the ball tends to bounce back a bit more or bounce away a bit more. But with the cast iron hoops, they tend to sit. And of course, with the jump shots, because they are nice and parallel all the way up, the jump shots can be a little bit more difficult, and you have to be spot on with your accuracy to jump through the hoops.
Well, that's a design feature of the hoop, isn't it?
Yes.
Quite a clever one. Certainly standard hoops, you tend to have to bend them in at the bottom to get the narrow width. Therefore, there's a nice big gap at the top. Well, I say big, but
not a good advantage to
bigger.
jump.
Well, she's got the point now, so that's 4-1.
That is 4-1.
But she's not run it very far, so
no, ideally you'd
theory
like to
here
be.
is Kim's got the advantage at 6 potentially. If she gets a good position here. It's
looking at the angle, she might have wired it from yellow. I think that's what Judith's going to go and check.
Yellow's in difficulty, I would say.
Yeah.
I would say her backswing must be hampered to some extent. So it looks like she's having a go at clearing this with red. Do you think? I'm trying to read
she's
the
swinging
body
quite
language.
positively, and I'm thinking, it's quite possible she wants to clear blue. Yeah, just missed. I think that's possibly the right decision there. Excuse me. Especially with yellow being in difficulty, you've got to take that clearance shot when you can.
So this is just another positional shot. Even better, actually.
It's a good thing to do. Put the pressure on. Have both balls there, black and blue, both in runnable positions. It looks like it's possible that red might be wide from black as well.
Maybe.
Possible.
I'm not sure about that. But
it's so difficult to tell from sitting here.
I'm expecting her to have a go at the hoop with blue, assuming blue doesn't get moved, which it hasn't.
And I would definitely have a go. Red has come past the halfway point, which means that it could be requested to move. To either the east or the west boundary.
I'm going to guess it would be the east. Yeah.
Yes, and that's a nice hoop.
4-2.
4-2. So Kim has requested that red goes across to the east boundary.
Now hopefully they've got these extra little corner pegs, as I think of them, set up to show you exactly where the offside line is.
Yes.
So you've got the one directly north of 5 and 6 is halfway between 2 and 3 and 8 and 9. And then the other two are halfway between 6 and 7 and 10 and 11.
So the reason why Kim's requested that the ball goes to the east boundary, it's a longer shot across the lawn, and you're coming across the hoop, which which means you
Yeah,
have
so
to
if you're trying to take position, it's more
a
difficult.
bit more
isn't it?
difficult.
Yeah.
If you request it at the west boundary, it's a shorter shot, and you come in more in line with the hoop, which is possibly easier to get hoop position. As we can see, red was slightly short. So these lawns have been fairly fast, even though we've had the rain. However, there's a bit of dew on the lawn at the moment, so the balls are holding up a little bit today, this morning.
Well, I'm pleased to say that the sun is back out. I drove over in sun beating down, parked up, walked in, sun beating down. So the first thing I did was get slimed up with sun cream, and I walked out of the clubhouse and there was no sun shining. So I'm quite pleased that it is shiny again now.
Judah's going to try and clear. Got a double clearance here, maybe.
Oh, possibly, but equally you
tough
could
one.
just slap black into blue and it stays there, which would be a bit of a disaster. Well, that sort of happened. She's got black to go further away, which is good. But again, I think quite rightly Kim's going for this.
I think you have. It's a free shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hit the left hand wide, but it was right to take the shot on. I think, given where red and yellow are, it's worth having a go. I think Kim was looking for the hard clearance there. I think it was the right shot to take because yellow was in a good position. Judah's just going to try and clear black, regain control of the hoop.
Yeah, that was a good illustration of how Judith played that very smoothly. But I think Kim, in trying to hit the ball harder, just kind of lost the timing of the swing a bit, because she actually hit down on the ball and she didn't hit with the middle of the face. Whereas actually that was much smoother. This is 4-5-2.
I think Judith was trying to run that firmly to try and get down to the next hoop.
I was giving Kim the chance to come back.
Yeah. Morning, Tim, from Taree in New South Wales. And I agree, it is another fine day for croquet. At the moment, there's very little cloud in the sky. There's a gentle breeze blowing to keep it cool, and the sun is out. I think by the end of today, my knees are going to look redder than the red ball, even with sun cream on.
Is it not always a fine day for croquet?
I think some of the players are beg to differ after, was it Tuesday?
Yeah, well, it was a light drizzle on Tuesday.
I will say to my wife, we playing, and I've played at Ramsgate a number of times over here, and we've had some lovely weather down there the last few years, but I remember playing at Ramsgate where you get the rain and the wind and it's coming at you horizontally, and I don't mind playing in the rain and I don't mind playing in the wind, but I hate playing in both of them together. Oh, it was close. Good effort, I think.
So, what's Judith's plan here? Assume she's got a free swing. You just try and get between blue and the hoop?
That's what I'd be trying to do.
Blue and red? Or?
Trying to get between blue and the hoop and in some form of runnable position.
She's done pretty well then, I think.
Cool.
I think Kim's going to clear red.
5-2 up.
Yeah, well,
I would want both my balls in runnable position.
She's in a strong position anyway, isn't she, to be fair? So it's just interacting with our leader, Alison. So I actually missed what Kim did there. What did she?
I think she knocked yellow away with blue.
Right. So red's still got a hoop shot.
The red's still got a hoop shot. That's a good hoop.
So 6-2.
6-2.
It's tempting to relax, I would have thought at this stage.
Yes, and I always say, especially in golf croquet, in any croquet, but never give up. You might be ahead. You know, as a person behind, just keep going. You never know how it could change. You could get one or two hoops and claw your way back in. And when you are this far ahead, if you do tend to relax, sometimes mistakes come into it, or your concentration wavers, and you could let your opponent in. So it's very good to be as clinical as possible if you can.
But a lead is still a lead, isn't it? And it's kind of like tennis. I mean, theoretically, the match isn't over until it's over.
Yes.
If you're 2 sets up and 5-love.
We were talking, well, looking at this game, once you maybe 3-1 up, you could trade a couple of hoops and still keep the lead and get through. I think it's very different when it's 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, you're fighting for every single hoop.
The difficulty is that you can win one hoop, but chances are you're then sort of at a slight disadvantage for the next hoop.
Yes.
So you really need to, for example, at 9, you really need to win 9 and have the first ball in at 10.
Yes. we actually talked. One of the fan base the other day was asking about that. Why is 9 so crucial? And and hoop 9 is very crucial because it's normally coming towards the end of the game where you could be 2 hoops up and you want to extend your lead. Likewise, as the opponent, you could be 2 hoops down and you want to get back into the game. So if you're able to run hoop 9 and get close up to hoop 10 and have first shot at hoop 10, it is always a bonus. Good hoop.
Well, that's the end of this game.
That's the first game.
Okay, well, and even if you're 4-all,
Yes.
if you're 4-all and you manage to get 9 and 10, then you're just
You
one
get
point
a
away
2-shot
from-
swing.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if they'll start game 2 immediately or they might take a
Well,
quick comfort
typically
break.
they take a short break, don't they?
Yes,
From what
yes.
I've seen. I was going to say it's fundamentally different from a game of AC where you literally can be 24 or 25 nil up and the game is far from over.
Yes, very much so.
At least at the top level.
Yeah. I think the major difference from that point of view is in golf croquet you alternate shots. So
That's right.
you get a shot and then your opponent has a shot and you get your next shot, and you're tactically trying to run hoops or clear the ball, and even if you have a bad shot you know you're going to get another chance.
Yeah.
In AC at the top level, it's more, I kind of compare it to snooker, where if you sink a ball, you get another go, and you can chain the break together.
Yeah.
And the same thing, I think, in AC, you could be 25-0 up, and if your opponent hits in and hits the ball, they could get a run together and make the hoops and chain the break together and go all the way around. And there have been many instances where I've maybe gone around for my first ball and thought I'm in a good position here, and my opponent has hit in and I've missed the next shot and the game is over in AC.
Yeah. Well, they fooled us. They've gone straight back
They've
on.
gone straight back on.
So, how important is it to get blue in position? Blue being the first ball then.
I would be wanting to try and get it in hoop position. It's very important, I think, because you get first go at hoop 1. But I think Kim's done the right thing here. If you're not going to get position on it, you want to go slightly past the hoop, because it gives you the clearance back and you're clearing your opponent to the far side of the lawn, which Kim has done.
Well, she's done quite well
Yeah.
there, because she also moved red so that it can't run the hoop.
Yeah. Nice shot.
It looks like Black's going for a walk. Oh, that's nice. So Judith has done a stop shot clearance that seems to have got red wide from Black. Obviously blue can still see red. Presumably it's very good to get wired from the ball that's going to play before you.
Yes.
Less important from the other ball, but still useful potentially.
Kim was trying to get into a hoop position there to keep the pressure on red because it was quite angled, because she couldn't clear red because of the wiring, and she probably would have used blue to try and clear red afterwards. From this position, I can't see whether the black ball has actually got past the
I
hoop.
don't think it has. So does Judith similarly just put another ball in, or it's quite a big ask to put a block in?
I would put another ball in hoop position if I can.
She's gone for the block perhaps and is quite a bit short. So now she's not in hoop position, so there's no pressure exerted by yellow.
The block is a good option because it stops blue from clearing red, but I think from that distance it's very difficult.
Well, she was coming right across the line, wasn't she?
And that's a good clearance. So hoop 1 still up for grabs.
And black can now take a position rather than having to clear yellow.
And then can use blue to hopefully...
Okay.
Yeah.
That's quite a deep position. So this will be position and blocking red, presumably, for what it's worth, because yellow can still clear black.
Yeah. Oh, that's curled off. Slight curl
It
there.
did curl off.
Judith's looking at it. It might still be slightly in the way or hindering her a little bit.
I think we should give a big shout out to the camera operators.
Yes.
Out in all weathers. And you see Phil Eardley down beyond the south boundary. I'm just going to have a quick peek and see if there's somebody up on the roof of the hut behind us here.
They're using I think the sky camera up there.
Okay, so that camera's remotely controlled from HQ, presumably.
Yes, it's
There is actually somebody up there, but I think he's just taking still photographs.
yeah, so if you've seen any camera views or angles which look almost from a bird's eye view looking down, or more from a bird's eye view rather than flatter on the plane, that's probably the sky camera, and it's been programmed to automatically track where the balls are.
Really?
And it's been preset to actually, once you move from hoop 1 to hoop 2, you push a button and you push hoop 2 and enter, and it moves automatically towards hoop 2. So we're trying to make sure that on the show lawn there's always a camera on the balls at all times, while
That's fantastic.
The manual handling camera can be used to pan and zoom in and see things from different...
We just need to program some AI, and they could do the commentary as well.
Judith looking...
Oh, what's she looking at here? This is presumably she's blues to play after the yellow, so this is a clear.
She either can just see it,
You think she's going to
or
go for
she's
hoop?
going to go for clear.
She
Good
could
hoop.
see it.
Just see it. That's a very, very good hoop from there.
Yeah, but again,
It's
well, she's taking advantage of the fact that Kim can't see hoop 2 with blue, certainly, and black might be slightly hampered. So the best she can do is come up to the side.
in an ideal world, you would have wanted yellow to run a bit further through the hoop, so that you're not hampered in any way and you can have a clear shot down towards hoop 2. I thought Judith hit that pretty positively, hoping for that to happen, but it might have just caught a little bit more wire than expected, and although she's made the hoop, it didn't go as far through as she expected it to.
Well, the gap is pretty small.
Yes.
In old money, I believe it's a 32nd of an inch, which I would regard as challenging.
Yes, very much so.
When I started playing, the gap was an 1/8 of an inch.
I think that's possibly the best you could have done from there. The other option would have been to play it from the side towards the near boundary. But looking at the closeness of it, she might not have had the opportunity to play that shot.
Kim just missing a few clearances at the moment. So this could be another hoop shot. You've got to be accurate.
You do have to be accurate.
As you say, that's bounced out. It's not just stuck on the wire.
Good morning and welcome to Yuri. I take it that's what you're asking. Unfortunately,
Oh yeah,
good
so
hoop.
take that.
Good hoop. Yes.
Enough for red.
Can't. Not good at reading. Eastern European languages, unfortunately. But Yuri, not sure if you are you from Czechoslovakia, Latvia? But welcome anyway.
Ah, I believe Yuri is from Russia.
From Russia.
Oh.
Okay. Sue de Villiers has just commented, "Go Judith, routine for you."
And where's he from, I wonder?
So I've noticed Judith taking hoop positions a little bit further away than she did in the first game.
Okay. Does that suggest she's more confident with her
Yeah.
hoop running?
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah. And it could also mean that she's hoping to force her opponent when to play the clearances to have longer hoop shots too. And also I think in the first game you're very focused on trying to play well and get into the game, you know, and make sure you make those hoops when you can, and just kind of feeling how your game's going, and by the time you get to the second game you hopefully want to be playing a little bit better. And it looks like she's going for the jump shot here,
Blue
so
got
blue
it.
must be in the way.
Yeah.
And that's just come off the right hand wire.
Yeah, it made the sort of sound that it could have been a hoop run,
Yeah,
but
yes.
the angle it's gone out. I'm gonna say it didn't run that hoop.
Kim's done, I think, the right thing here. She's put black in position, so she's now in control of the hoop. Judith has a 7-yard clearance, more or less, from the boundary. I think she'd be aiming to try and clear blue.
Wow. Kim's got a chance for the lead in this game.
Nice hoop.
Red didn't hit any balls, did it? So
No.
Red's offside.
So Kim's decided to ask Red to go to the west boundary this time.
Is yellow?
Yellow missed everything too, so they're both
Is
going
yellow
to the west
lost?
boundary.
Oh, yeah, of course, yellow's is halfway down, yeah.
Now, ideally, I think Kim would have liked to have played that with a little bit more firmness to try and get blue a bit further up, but she's made the hoop, and that's the main thing. So 2-1 up.
There's a lot to be said for making the hoop, as opposed to going for 2 hoops and not making the first one.
So he's saying, in reply to you, Keith, she's from Rondebosch in Cape Town, and she's the secretary for the South African Croquet Association, and Judith is my president.
Ah, right, okay. So how should we be addressing Judith?
Madam President?
Madam President, sounds good.
Judith has had a fair tournament up until now. The players in the block have been playing quite well, and she's had a couple of tough games, but she's coming through. She'll be happy, I think, to try and win this. And
Well, if she wins this match, she's qualified.
She's qualified.
Yeah. So
she had a good tussle against Ashley Cook, one of the New Zealanders, the other day.
yes,
And Ashley came out on top. Played some very clever, sneaky tactics.
oh yes.
Stymieing a couple of balls and setting up for a couple of promotions into the right positions. It was a nice game to watch.
Well, she didn't run the hoop on that occasion, but we were directly behind the line, or at least I was, and you can see Judith has got an absolutely perfectly straight backswing.
Something
Don't think
I would
it-
love to have.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think it's an absolute prerequisite for success, but
It definitely helps.
it should help, because if you don't, then you have to correct whatever twist or movement offline you've got in your backswing and get it right as you come into the ball. Whereas if it's always straight back and through, you'd think things would be easier. Cut down the variables.
Yes,
I always tell people, cut down the variables.
So, is that nearly as straight as Reg Bamford's?
It's straighter. I thought it looked straighter. Reg won't be listening, so it's fine, I can say that. Reg Bamford uses, or at least certainly quite publicly used to use a swing trainer.
And he still does.
He still does, right? Well,
Yeah.
he produced it at a World Championship at Surbiton many years ago, and he was letting other people have a go. And one of the people who had a go was Trevor Bassett from Australia. He twists his mallet the mallet head almost perpendicular to the line of play on his backswing. And the first go he had, he said, I nearly broke my wrist.
Yeah, if you're not used to it, I can imagine that happening. Yes, Reg, during this year's World Championships, the AC World Championships, we were playing down at Surbiton. At the end of the day, he took out the swing trainer and went down to, I think it was at lawn 6, and set it up and was practicing his swing.
Well,
David Gowers said, nice hoop running, Kim, looking good. Yeah.
So Red's back in front, and
Don't know if you can see this. I'm thinking you'd just want to try and get hoop position here. And then try and clear with black if you can.
she looks like she's lining up to have a go at Red. I know, that's a sort of call she'd make. Wow. Could she have been trying to get in the hoop or just through the hoop? Seems quite difficult.
Difficult to see from here. I think she's probably trying to go for
Because that would only
just
have
missing the hoop
that
and
would
get
have
in front
just
of Red.
nudged Red. Oh, maybe get in front of Red, okay. Also difficult.
Yeah. Nice clean hoop.
Yeah. So 2-all.
2-all, 2-2. Kim's got first approach to hoop 5.
Not bad, bit angled.
An interesting discussion point is that Judith's run Red all the way to the boundary. There's some viewpoints that, in fact, you could have run that slightly more gentler, maybe to a foot past 1 foot through the hoop, and that leaves you a much shorter clearance shot at hoop 5. Whereas Red on the boundary, you probably have increased your clearance or your distance shot by another yard or 2.
Oh, that's true. I have seen players run to the boundary and then they'll size up the situation at with the other balls at 5 and then run the hoop.
Yes.
So, which you couldn't do if you were a foot through.
No, I
don't
agree.
know how realistic. I mean, this looks like
Depends how
it's
confident you are.
sort of a double target, isn't it? Black in the hoop, maybe. No, she's just sort of come in and it's curled. I think that's curled.
It's cold. Yeah, it
Slightly.
did veer.
It was kind of going straight towards the leg of the hoop though, before it curled.
Nice.
And you see, I think
I'm not sure if Kim was
just-
going for the in-off there, or
No,
she's looking for
I think she was
the
just going for a
clearance
stop
and
shot clearance, but-
keeping black there, because Lou's in a good position to
She
clear
does sort
Red.
of lose her shape a bit when she's trying to hit it hard.
Yeah.
Whereas Judith gets a very steady, solid base to her swing, and there's not going to be a lot of movement other than the mallet here. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing you see with the Egyptians.
Yeah.
They get a very they fix their knees just before they
Yes.
start hitting, and they've got a very solid base from which to swing at, and they hit so hard.
Yes. I'm amazed at how hard they can hit that ball using Irish, or the Irish style. And it does take its toll on the wrists, I'm quite sure, at some point. But I think because they hold the mallet lower down, it's easier to get the timing and whip through with the wrists.
Okay.
But that is speculation.
Yeah, I'd quite liked how they go with one of that mallets. Have you ever tried that?
No, I haven't had a go.
No.
I've heard that they're very, very light.
Yes, that's what I've
And
heard.
to try and offset the wrist injuries in that, they tend to have much thicker grips.
Okay.
Morning. I've done that with my own croquet mallet. I've put a slightly thicker grip on, not necessarily for offsetting injuries, but I find that it just helps reduce the twisting. It's an idea I got from watching a lot of golf, and Bryson DeChambeau using thicker grips, and a lot of the pros now using thicker grips on their golf clubs. And
Well, certainly,
definitely
I've seen them
helps
do
me.
that on putters. Putters can have quite thick grips.
And I find it's definitely helped me reduce the twisting, if that makes any sense, with having a slightly thicker grip. So, looks like it's in a pretty good runnable position here.
So we'll see her, make sure she runs it, or try and run it down to 6.
It's 2-2. I would be trying to run this confidently, hoping to get somewhere up towards the peg,
Yeah, she's not,
if lucky.
she's not really done that on any of her hoop runs so far. More content to just make the point, although she did run 4 to the boundary, but it wasn't like it.
Nice.
That's a better one.
And
that's very
past
nice.
the peg. As I was going to say, get somewhere near the peg, if lucky, get past the peg into a good position,
Yeah.
which she's done. I think it's always worth trying that on the 2 inside hoops, hoop 5 and 6. They're a bit closer together. You don't have to hit it as hard, but it puts you in a very good position to maybe go an extra hoop up.
Hello, you two.
Morning.
I've come to harass you because I've heard you've been talking about mine and Judith's game the other night.
I was saying you had some very clever shots in that game. I enjoyed watching that.
I had some very evil thoughts in that game.
Yes, especially on hoop 12.
Yes.
I love the setup of the slight knock to the side to then get in position to win the hoop. I thought that was very good.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no, I was looking and I was like, well, if I hit her, then I'm hitting her sideways and she's going to be able to get me out. Whereas if I sit just in front but on the side to her, then she can't jump me. And she can't do much else.
Well, that's
Nice
very
hoop.
handy.
Yeah. And
Round
there's
5.
a good
next
example
rotation,
of
round 6.
it's a good example of how beneficial it can be to run
Nope, I'm not taking over.
run hoop 5 positively and getting down to hoop 6 first. There's now a 2-shot swing there. Judith's now leading 4-2. It's a good position from black.
So this is very much the pattern I've seen with the Egyptians. They put the first ball into position,
And then try and clear
even
with
if
the
the
second
opponent's
ball.
got position, and then they go, right, well, I'll then clear with the second ball.
It's something my grandma taught me as well. Mum does it as well, grandma does it, because we know we're such good roquets, and that sort of distance means not much to us. We will tend to put our first ball in because we can guarantee we'll hit probably 8 times out of 10. And if not, well, we've got a ball there putting pressure on them, so.
But I've seen them do it even when they, if they wanted to do the clearance, the first clearance might be 7 yards, and then the one they actually take is 12 yards. So some of the time they come unstuck doing that.
I've noticed a lot of the strong GC players, especially some of the power hitters over here, will tend to, in that case, take both shots at the ball.
Oh,
try
really?
and clearance.
Okay.
Yeah. I've seen Aston do it a number of times, and Ewan Burridge do it. Yeah. Obviously, they are very, very accurate and very confident about the hitting in.
So Judith's not taking this hit on us. I'm slightly surprised about But that's a great
That's a good
clearance.
shot.
Yeah.
Lovely stop shot. Cleared blue and still stayed in position with red.
Yeah. And if red's left there, then black's going for a walk, I think. Red is still there now. Is black going for a long walk? Or would you try and play it just to get black wide from yellow? Maybe 2 yards the other side.
I would
of
be playing it firmly, but I would be trying to cut black up the lawn to try and get the wire, I think.
it. Okay.
See, I wouldn't be worried about that. I would be trying to do a stop shot, so my red ball's still in there with black gone, because you can't hit black far. You can only hit it really to the boundary. If you do a lovely little stop shot, then
And you've got 2 balls in position of the
yeah.
hoop.
Well, she hasn't done that. But I think she's got the wire.
Looks like the wire. So I was
And that, yeah.
This is interesting. You can just run it straight through, or you could jump it.
Not
I've
sure,
seen people play,
yeah.
try to run it straight through.
Yeah.
I've seen people jump it. For me, I like jump shots. I'll probably go for the jump shot there, because I'm more worried about the margin for error of not hitting black correctly and then sticking on the hoop.
Yeah.
So I
Well, the
prefer
really
jump.
clever outcome is actually to just flick black and move it about 18 inches.
Staying in the hoop.
No, you go flicking, you go down to 8.
Yeah, as you jump over.
So,
Yeah, see me personally, I probably would hit that through simply because there's no other balls near that hoop, and if you get the right spin going on it, it should take you straight through.
Shot.
very good shot. You can still see a bit of yellow.
Probably about a half ball to a third of the ball, I think, if anything.
At most. I was just giving up.
That's one thing I noticed when playing Judith. She is very accurate.
Yes.
9 times out of 10, she probably hit me dead centre.
Mm-hmm. And that goes back to Paddy was commenting on her swing and how nice it looks and
Yeah.
steady and it looks. And Keith was saying she's got a very straight backswing.
Very straight backswing. Yeah, well, Kim got that black nicely positioned.
Yes. And that's a good thing for any GC players who want to improve their game. Sometimes you can give your hoop to the opponent, but you do want to put your ball somewhere in the line of where they might run the hoop.
Just in case.
Just in case, yeah. And then if you get the deflection like that, they don't get all the way up to the other hoop. Did you used to get your game played yesterday?
Sorry?
Did you get your game played yesterday? Your game yesterday?
Yes. I was playing Gouda last night. We started at 6:30 and she was leading in the first game and I managed to crawl it back 7-4. 7-5 in the first game, and then the second game I won 7-4. We finished just before 9 o'clock. It was getting a little bit hard to see the balls. If we hadn't been so far through the game, I might have asked for us to get pegged down because...
And finish this morning.
Yeah, because it was just getting a little bit difficult, A, to see the balls, and B, to actually see the hoop. So the draws were my friends last night.
So Judith's looking to clear blue by the looks of it.
She's at 5-2 again.
Mm-hmm. And from this angle,
Oh, now.
Not very often she misses.
misses those.
Yeah, well, that, again, you see, I think was just a slight breakdown in technique. That's because she was trying to hit it harder. Because if you notice, yellow was bouncing. So she's got her hands ahead at the point of impact, so the mallet's just
Jumped a bit.
just pointing slightly down. And then if that happens, there's also a chance that you've twisted it offline as well. Or maybe she didn't hit central. Okay.
It's being cleared.
Yeah.
Black's in a good position. I think Judith's probably going to clear black here and try and leave red with a runnable hoop if possible.
Or at least somewhere controlling the front of the hoop.
Yeah. And like I say, she's been quite happy to leave herself slightly longer hoop approaches, which I think is such
Like
as
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's obviously feeling fairly confident on those longer hoops.
So black wants to get between red and the hoop here, doesn't it? In
Yes.
position. Okay. Well,
That's fine.
it's fine because you, to some extent, you're going, well, if you want to have a go with red, have a go. But if you mess it up, I'm going to run that.
See, for me, when I look at that, I look at cool, blues and blacks in a nice spot, blue can hit red.
Yeah. Yeah. No, okay.
Yeah, well, with yellow being put there, it changes things
Yeah.
up. As you guys know, you often have plan A, B, C, D, E, F, all the way down to Z sometimes.
Yes.
And normally
It's
Z
amazing
is-
how often you get to plan Z as well.
Yeah,
These opponents can be a bit of a nuisance, can't they?
they can. But mind you, I'm very good at blocking my own balls, so I sometimes don't even need opponents. Oh well, I think I'm going to leave you guys to your lovely commentating, and I am going to go and find something to eat.
No problem.
Okay.
Good luck for your game today. You got a game today?
Yes, I've got one against Liz. It's sort of been pushed to the back burner as both Liz and I have already qualified for the knockout, so they're trying to get in games so they can get the playoffs organised,
Okay.
which is fair enough.
Yeah.
Now, actually, you might know the answer to this. If once the qualifiers are known, but some of them are on the same number of wins,
Yes.
how are the ties split? So you get the 1, 2, 3, 4 order.
So, are you talking about?
So it's not. We know who the 4 qualifiers are.
Yeah.
Maybe after a playoff, maybe not.
Yeah.
But you need to know them in 1, 2, 3, 4 order for the
Yeah.
knockout draw. So if 2 people are on the same number of wins within those
so
4, how's that split?
Other, I don't know if it's going to be the same as this one, but other ones I've played at, once they've found out the 4, you then get re-ranked by your ranking,
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
and that
okay.
gets you your 1, 2, 3, 4. So sometimes I've been like the worst ranked player in my section, and I've managed to come technically second out of my block, but I'm still ended up ranking 4th.
For the draw.
Okay, well, we'll have to check that.
Yeah, so I'm not sure
have
if
to
they're
check
doing that this time, or whether it goes on matches, then games, then points, then who beats who.
Yeah. Okay.
As I said, I'm not entirely sure how that's worked out. I sort of just go, cool, sweet, I'm in. Who am I playing? Sweet, I'm playing this person. Let's go.
Good attitude. Just play who you're told to play.
Yeah.
When you're told to play.
Otherwise you start.
And where you're told to play.
Yeah. Otherwise you start getting a little bit stressed out about who you're playing,
Yeah.
who you're playing, and what the chances are. It's just focus on one game at a time.
Yes.
Alright, see you guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya. So, Judith
Judith's in
in control.
Kim
So
did manage to knock yellow out the way. He was in a hoop rundable position.
you've just got to stop blue clearing black, clearing red, haven't you?
Done.
I'm
I don't
not
think
sure
she
she
did
has.
that. Might have left a double here.
Oh, so unlucky.
Managed to do
She,
both,
she
which
hit
is-
yellow first?
Hit yellow
and then
first.
nicked red
Yeah.
closer to the hoop. She's been a bit unlucky with a couple of those.
6-2 to Judith.
Well, we've been here before.
So Kim's gone fairly deep there. I think that was given where black was, the hoop might have been in the way. I think it's deep, it's in hoop runnable position, and it's in a clearing position. It's a good shot from Judith. Might be a little bit short.
So Judith's just coming across to, presumably, is she checking what blacks and yellows line at the hoop is?
I think so.
Yeah. Kim's doing the same.
That tells me that yellow is obviously a lot closer than we can see from here.
Well, as soon as that ball goes in, Kim wants to clear it, doesn't she? She could potentially clear yellow, but I don't know. Oh, and she's
She went
missed,
for the hoop.
missed
I
red.
think she went for the hoop.
Do you think? Judith, this is for the win now. Well, yeah, she had to clear yellow, surely. And Judith has. She had a similar hoop at 7, but she didn't run, but I think she will run this one. Oh,
Is that through?
it's very close.
Is a referee they can ask?
Looks like they've agreed that it's not through.
Oh, this is a must clear on red.
Yeah.
And black's in a nice position. Oh, lucky.
Yeah. No. Difference has been the firmer clearance type shots, I think.
7-2 to Judith.
Yeah.
And he puts Judith through.
Madam President is through, qualified. You can put her feet up.
Morning, Nelson. I will do, Sue. When I see her later, I'll congratulate her.
What's this?
Sue's saying, please congratulate Judith for me.
Ah.
Nelson, you've put in a comment here, KOs on block placement. Not sure what you are asking.
Well, I'm asking how the block placement is decided.
Ah.
In the event of qualifiers having the same number of wins from the block.
Yeah. So, just have a look. So that now puts Judith on 4 wins.
Who was the top seed in her block? Remind me?
Pauline Salib.
Oh yeah, she got 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got 6 wins. Judith's now on 4. Ashley's on 4. And Liz.
Has Ashley finished, or has she got another match?
She's still got another match, but she has to play Liz.
Liz.
Is it Liz? Liz Drury?
Oh, Liz Drury.
I think it's Liz
Right.
Drury.
Mhm.
Who was playing a bit earlier, finishing off the game. So what I can do is just refresh that and see if it helps. Yeah, okay, yeah. And Liz Drury's on 3 at the moment. So I think they're waiting to see what happens in other games before that one goes in case there's playoffs. Okay.
So I guess we're waiting for another game to go on here.
Yep. Not sure when it will start, but
No, we don't know whom, we don't know when.
looking at Block A, Soha is on 6 wins and it's finished all her games, so she'll be going through. Manal is on 3 wins. Liz Farrow is on 3 wins. Diana Wilson is on 3 wins.
Oh, here we go.
So I think it's going to come down to some of the games they're playing at the moment, or will be playing.
So I know that the 3, 4, 5 and 6 in each block, their games against each other are the last 3 games they play.
Yeah.
But Manal's number 2 seed, so she must be playing somebody out of those. She must be playing the number 7.
Looking to see.
Is she?
Who's Manal?
Oh, who didn't need
Too much.
any tapping or stroking. Just
Okay,
a
so Manal,
quick test.
I think Manal's on lawn 8 at the moment. So I'm just looking at the order of play, unless that's finished.
I was confused by the fact that there are some games that had to resume this morning.
Unless they've changed it, which is quite possible. Thank you. Still got some charge, but I thought I'll bring it up. just a little bit of a hiatus at the moment while we waited to find out who might be playing next on lawn 1.
Our players are warming up, Andrew.
Players warming up. Helena Jansson
Yeah.
from Finland, and Jane Stevens from England.
Right, and what are they on currently?
I will check now. So this is a block B game. Jane is on 3 wins, and Helena's on 1 win at the moment. Okay, just going back to Nelson. You're asking about, is it how you finish in your blocks and then games? From what we've been told in the other World Championships, it's the top 4 from each block will go through, and then before they do the knockout draw, they'll look at the ranking positions after that and then seed accordingly. That's how we understand it.
Well,
But we'll try and get some
I'm going to try
clarification.
I'm going to try and look that up, Andrew, actually, because I'm not convinced. I think for golf croquet events, a form of block-based seeding is used.
A block-based seeding.
Yeah, so if you finish number 1 position in your block, you're a number 1 seed for the purposes of the draw, or in one of the top 8.
I'm going to leave Keith to look up the intricacies of that for you, Nelson. We'll try and get back to you a bit later. Michael, good morning. Thank you. I'm hoping we're doing a good job trying to explain everything. Tim, you talk about the dew on the ground. He's asked the question whether or not you usually wipe down the dew. I don't think so. Didn't have it yesterday. They had the lawns cut yesterday, so there was no need to wipe down the dew. The dew slows up the ball a little bit, but they're still fairly flat. And I think if there's lots of worm casts on the lawn, they probably would have wiped them down. But there's very few worm casts at the moment on the lawns. And with the wind and the breeze blowing gently, it's started to dry them all up too. There we are. Nelson said it's not true, it's block placing. Anne Wilson says go from Somerset West, and Rachel Williams says good morning from New Zealand. Right, so block B is the game which will be starting in a moment once they've finished warming up. We have Amani Hassan and 6 matches, still 6 wins, and then you've got Jane on 3, Lynn Piercy on 4, and then you have Garda Karam, Dallas Cook on 2 each. So looking for the qualifications there, Jane would really want to win this one to make it through, and then looks like it might be between Garda Karam and Dallas Cook will be trying to win their games to make it through as well.
Right. Well, I have tracked down the regulation in the WCF sports regulations, and I think it's pretty much what Nelson was saying. So it's in GC events only. The way you rank the 4 qualifiers, if there are any ties, the player who has the best net games total arising from block play. If still tied, the player with the best net points from block play. If still tied, the player who has beaten all the other players that remain tied after the application of the 2 previous methods. If still tied, by lot.
Oh, okay. Morning, Brian. Good to see you tuning in. Andrew Fall has said that block placing after the ties have been resolved is under App 6 of the World Sporting or WCF sporting regulations. So
that's right.
For those of you who've met Helena before, you'll know that in the croquet world she has 2 mascots which she brings with her to all her tournaments in the form of 2 small fluffy penguins called Hoop and Mallet, and they're normally around the croquet courts somewhere, I suppose watching the games or bringing luck to people who are playing. I know at the opening ceremony there was a photo of them, and I saw another photo the other day of them on one of the courts, so with any luck you might see them floating about every now and again through the camera. To see which games are on the way.
So it looks like the players are nearing the end of their warm-up time. So we'll be underway shortly. So just to remind everyone, this is a game from Block B. Jane Stevens currently on 3 wins. Helena Jansson currently on 1 win. And it's the last of their block games, so a win for Jane would guarantee her qualification. Yes, I suspect Helena is probably out of it even if she wins. Now it looks as though there's been a wrong ball played, is it? Seems unlikely at the very start of the game, but I did see that happen yesterday, so I'm just selecting which clothes pegs to use. And we will be underway very soon. Yeah, so Helena's blue and black and she's played the blue ball in, looking for a nice tight position. And that's a pretty good shot.
Yeah. Slight angle, but looks like it's runnable.
So where would you rather be, Andrew, with red?
I would.
With given blue's gone there,
I would have.
would you be trying to clear, or
I probably would have tried to get position with my red, and with any luck, a blocker in place, and then I probably would try and clear with my yellow.
Okay.
On the first 2, but Helena's put another good black
So at
in,
this
so she's
stage,
got two chances here.
You don't necessarily know whether blue's looking at that and going, I've got a good position, or
I probably
or
would have
not.
walked across to see what it looked like before I made the decision.
But it's partly what you think. It's partly what you think your
opponent's
opponent
going to
thinks.
do. Who's going to have a go? It's a nice angle. That's all right. Didn't run the hoop, but it's a nice outcome.
It's going to be tough to move blue with either red or yellow, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
What are the options here? I think she's going to have to settle for jumping with yellow.
I think that's what she's doing. And she's going to try and put clear black so it can't peel it through. Oh no, she's gone for the soft snuggle. She just got it. I think Helena can just see her blue.
And she could, and she's
One
at
nil
least
to
got
Helena.
black on the north side of the hoop as well, which is a bonus.
That's a good approach. Within 3 yards.
That nudge on yellow's just kept blue on the playing side of the hoop, which might be important later.
Yes, very much so. Could be useful for clearing or.
I have to say, these two players are getting a shift on.
Yes, not looking like they're hanging around at the
I
moment.
don't want to compare them unfavourably with the previous game, but you don't need a shot clock on these two.
think different people have different ways, don't they? I think some people prefer to step up and play as soon as they feel comfortable. Others would rather make sure of the accuracy, but they don't seem to be hanging around.
Yeah.
Good hoop.
Oh,
1-1.
well. Again, she's going quite tight now. This time I don't think she's got position.
No.
Might be able to jaws it, maybe.
It's a very tight angle.
So is this a normal thing to go in deep?
I would go in deep.
Yeah.
And
Well, looks like she's actually blocked blue there, which I guess is an outcome
That's
she
unfortunate.
wasn't on taking it.
that's unfortunate. And now I'd probably try and put my yellow a bit closer.
But you don't want to block red at the hoop.
No.
No. So I'm not sure where she'll try and put this. Well, she's certainly gone closer, but just timing just a bit off there.
But if the seagulls put her off on that.
Well, I think
A
she
couple
was,
running around there.
I think she was a little put off by the prospect of putting yellow in a bad place. Maybe. So that was a promotion to try and get black
Black in
to
front
block
of red.
Okay.
So options are to jump
Well,
for
she
blocks in place
shook
or
her
just
head,
clear
so,
black.
so she shook her head, so I don't think she's got it. So this is a hoop shot. That was
Good
lovely.
hoop.
Yeah, that was lovely timing.
Now, I've played against Jane a number of times over the last couple of years, and touch wood, because I don't want to put the commentator's curse on her, but she is normally very consistent and nice and accurate and very steady, and she runs those hoops at a steady pace like that a lot of the time once she gets going. Just noticed that our camera person has changed, and looks like Ashley has taken over for a bit on the camera. She did a little bit yesterday, manning the Sky camera as well while waiting for her game. So
Yeah, she gets everywhere, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Very keen.
very keen. That's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Looks like Black's in a good position.
Yeah, that was a bit of a mishap. So they've just lost a bit of pace. So if you play Jane quite a bit, is she a member of Dulwich?
No. We just met on the circuit around.
Okay, so where does
the
Jane
UK.
play then, do you know?
I think Northampton, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Possibly.
Right.
But,
One of the Lionel Tibble
Yeah.
crowd then. Right.
yeah, I played her a couple of times. Oh, did that go through? I don't think so. Yeah, played her a couple of times up at Hunstanton and the Ascot Cup. Very solid player. And not scared to go for the longer hoops.
No, already we're at
Well, it's
2-all.
2-2, and we've only been playing
Right.
for, what, 5 minutes?
5 seconds, I think.
Yeah, definitely not hanging about at the
I've got
moment.
we might have a plane to catch. Okay, so that looks like a pretty good position at 5. So looks like Helena's trying to clear this.
Definitely going for the clearance there.
Yeah.
So opting to try and clear twice, possibly. The yellow is in a very good position.
So she's going to have another game, another clearance presumably. This time she's got it.
And she's
stayed
played it really nicely as well. Got
Very
herself in
nicely.
good position.
Crowd goes wild at that. Well, we have had quite a few spectators. There's quite a good number of people to the east side of Lawn 1. And people watching most of the lawns.
Yeah. It's been like this most of the week. It's been really nice to see. A lot of people coming in and watching. Tends to get a little bit busier around about now until about 2-3 o'clock. On a day like this, I expect a lot of people coming out. Got a bit more cloud cover, but not too much. And the wind's still very, very gentle, so it's not really affecting swings or anything like that. Did she move a bit on that one? It's difficult to tell from where we sit in the commentary whether red is in front of that hoop or just to the side.
Well, from the way it bounced out, I'm going to say it's not actually in front. Okay.
See, I'm wondering if Helena did that. Maybe red does have a shot to do.
I think she was trying to honestly clear hit yellow quite nicely, but
Yeah.
do you think she was actually trying to hit red? I don't think so. So is this coming in or is this shifting blue? Oh, I think it's shifting blue.
I think they're going to try and clear blue.
Yeah. Okay. Yet again, and just straight on. Oh, I was
Good
right.
effort from that
I
distance.
was right behind that. That had a good chance. Well, you'd have thought we can't quite see where the balls are relative to each other, but a good stop shot clearance on blue would hold red in position, wouldn't it? I think she's probably managed it, so at least red should jaws.
Quite a tight angle, but jawsable, I think.
So Eleanor's going to shift it. Yeah. Okay. Guessing yellow will just come back in.
Yeah, it's very important to try and keep control of hoop 5 if you can.
This is a wrong ball, isn't it?
Yes. And for this tournament, for this tournament, they're not using sequence umpires.
And this is also a wrong ball.
And now, I don't know if Richard's watching or not, the referee.
Richard's
I'm
having
not
a
sure
snack.
if he was allowed to say anything or not as a referee.
He's having a snack.
There was
at
an
the moment.
incident on one of the lawns yesterday where they actually were playing in sequence but went to the wrong hoop.
Right.
And they only realised after about 4 or 5 shots
Okay.
that it happened.
That's
And,
another wrong ball.
yeah.
And
Now, normally, if you're playing in a CA event, we'd have sequence umpires. So
Okay.
anybody who's watching could have told them that they're playing out of sequence.
right,
But for this, we don't really have sequence umpires, or the people watching aren't allowed to say anything.
okay, so we're still out of sequence.
Still out of sequence.
This,
So black's just played.
yeah. Yeah.
So it's a red.
Well, I'm
haven't
fascinated, Andrew. I'm fascinated about how this is
Morning.
going to get resolved.
Now, I'm unsure what happens once you've played over a certain. Well, yesterday when they were playing at the wrong hoop, but in sequence,
Yeah.
after it got past 6 shots,
Yeah.
one of the players realised that they were at the wrong hoop, and when they spoke to the referee, Mr. Freer, is it Kevin Freer? Peter Freer, that's it. Sorry. He was saying that because you've played more than 4 shots,
Right.
you go to the penalty spot.
Oh.
Both of you go to the penalty spot, and you toss a coin, and you start from the penalty spot to go to the correct hoop. Now, I'm not sure what the ruling is on this. Whether it's just that once they've realised they're out of sequence, it would be the last ball played.
Well, we may find out. We may find out. I certainly won't pretend to know what the wrong ball law is. I know there is one.
So,
And I've seen
ideally,
all
for
sorts
those
of charts and diagrams trying to explain it to people.
those people who've just joined, we normally play in sequence of blue, red, black, yellow, but at some point the 2 players playing have not realised that they've gone out of sequence.
We know when it happens.
Yeah. So you might see,
Because black cleared red, and then red played. And since then they've been out of sequence.
it looks like Richard has realised what's going on.
Ah. We might get some comments from people on the chat who actually know what the rules are, MG.
Yes. Now, my understanding, they don't know when the sequence was, and it was, you then look at the last ball played, and then it's a replace and replay, or you can leave the balls where they are, and it'll be the next ball in sequence to play. Reese has commented, wow, hasn't God given us some beautiful weather? Yeah, it's really nice today, especially compared to Tuesday, where we had lots of rain and gusting winds and it was cold. Much more idyllic today.
So once this has been resolved, it looks like we're getting a ball swap.
We're getting a ball swap, yeah.
I'm going to nip over and have a word with the referee.
I think Richard might come here. He's offered to come here and explain things which might have
okay.
happened. So
That'll
I'm
be
hoping he
helpful.
will come over here. Nelson said that Nelson's commented that Richard should not be interrupting. I'm not sure what might be happening there. And Peter H has put it's kind of mind-boggling that a couple of players competing at the Worlds don't realise they're playing the sequence backwards. It's actually, believe it or not, it can be quite common. You're focusing so much and concentrating sometimes so hard that it slips your mind, especially if you're playing quickly and you haven't realised. That happens to a lot of players playing in tournaments. And it could be other things, like maybe the pressure and the nerves as well. You know, it's a must-win game, and it does happen. And Chris Borlase has said day 2 or day 3, the commentators actually asked when it happened and where the balls were. Okay.
I'm going to
I
nip
didn't know
over
that.
and because Richard hasn't come over, I'm going to nip over and have a quick look.
Go speak to him, yeah. Nelson says it should only go back one ball, which I think is what's happened there. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that, Nelson. I thought it was like that, but I wasn't sure because of the wrong hoop thing yesterday, whether there was another rule I did not know about with the out of sequence wrong ball play. And the referee's being called over again. I think this time to watch a shot.
Well, I didn't manage to get to speak to Richard for very long, so I'll have
I
another
think it's been
go in a minute.
called to adjudicate. So yellow is very, very close to black, and I think Jane is going to try and play back onto yellow, but because they're quite close, it could be a double tap or some form of fault. So Richard is watching. It says that's clean. It's a nice shot. Jane has managed to get yellow in position and clear black quite far. Unfortunately, Nelson, I'm not in a position to comment on the fairness of that because I'm not sure whether there's been a director from the tournament director or not with regards to stepping in and forestalling. Fran, you talked about the forestalling. Yes, most CA tournaments over in the UK at the moment, everybody is a sequence umpire and can forestall, but for the World Championships, they've put the ruling in that no spectators or players are sequence umpires, so we're not actually allowed to forestall or go and chat to them if something like that happens. Yeah. And Sarah said, yeah, a good case more people have been able to act as sequence umpires, which, yeah, if we'd seen it gone wrong, we could have stopped them straight away and said you're playing out of sequence, and it would have, like Nelson said, gone back to one ball. Nelson, I don't have the rules with me at the moment and I'm busy commentating. I will look it up later, but I'm quite sure you're correct if you've got the rules in front of you. Going back to the game, we've got Jane has now made hoop 5, so it's 3-2 to Jane. She hasn't run yellow a long way through, but I think she can still get her yellow back up to the hoop. Helen has put blue between the peg and hoop 6, slightly towards the east. Jane's red has just gone past hoop 6 by about half a foot. Helen has put black closer, possibly wide from red. A fairly long hoop running chance, but it's wide from red, so can't be cleared by red. That's what I can see from my position here. Keith has just left for a moment. He's gone to speak to Richard about what happened with the umpiring, to see what is going on. So what happened?
Well, Richard
did you resolve from
Richard
that?
Obviously didn't see, as we did, the original long ball. He was watching another game, but somebody nearby pointed out to him
that
they were playing out of sequence, and he then intervened.
Okay.
And the last ball played was by Helena. The last wrong ball was by Helena.
So it goes one ball back.
Jane has the option to replace the ball that Helena's just played, and for Helena to then play her correct ball, or to do a ball swap, which is what happened. The ball swap is what happened.
Uh-huh. Reese is asking about the offside rule. If you're talking about the offside rule in football, I'm not going to explain that because no one ever gets that right, and I probably won't get it right either. But with regards to being offside in golf croquet, if you choose to, or if you play a ball which goes past a certain point, a halfway point, and gives you an advantage towards the next hoop, if you have not hit your opponent's ball on the way through, that ball would be deemed offside, and then you'd have to go and place it in one of the two penalty places, either on the east boundary or the west boundary line of the peg. But you also do have the option to, as the player, to tell your opponent to keep playing it from where it lies, if you feel it is less advantageous for them. So the halfway points for hoop 5 and 6 would be in line with hoop 5 and 6. Halfway point between hoops 2 and 3 and 1 and 4 would be in line with hoops 5 and 6. And then the halfway points, there'll be another halfway point between, for instance, hoop 6 and 7, hoop 1 and 5, and likewise with hoop 2 and 6, and hoop 3 and 6, and hoop 4 and 5. Hope that's cleared it up. Peter said after the block ties have been resolved, then yes, the draw is position-based seeding, albeit it's using block seniority method. Block A will cross with G or H, block C with E, F, etc. I think that's going back to what we were looking at a bit earlier. So Nelson's commented about Richard interrupting the game possibly gave advantage to one player. Then, yeah, we were told there weren't any sequencing. Maybe that the person shouldn't have gone to Richard and pointed it out. But, yeah. Enough said on that at the moment. So we talked about the two mascots, Hoop and Mallet, the fluffy penguins. I can actually see them on lawn 1 on one of the banners in the far corner near Hoop 4. So Helen will be very pleased to see that they're there. I don't know if the cameraman will pick up on it, but to be honest, if this game gets to Hoop 9, you might see them in the background.
I'm wondering
it's got interesting
how heavy Helena's hat is. All those badges.
All those badges. Yes. So I got a bit distracted by the comments and commentaries, so wasn't sure what's happened here. But I take it Helena.
Red's come in from the correct side and blue's come in from the back.
So hence Jane went for the jump, but hasn't quite got it, which means that Ella's going to try and stop shot red away from the side of the hoop.
Yeah, I very much doubt blue can get through the hoop at the same time.
No.
Unless they happen to be touching.
And
which we can't
quite
really
rightly
tell.
so, they've asked the referee to come on and watch this, because this could be a crush, could be a double tap, could be
all
anything.
sorts. Could be absolutely anything. Oh, well, I wouldn't like to call that one.
Any sightings of the Aussie mascot? I did see the kangaroo watching one of the games the other day, along with one of the other mascots. I don't know where the Aussie mascot is now, but if any of the Australian ladies are listening, put it somewhere on the court or watching. So Jane's just played into position. Yellow's in a good position, but I think Helena's probably going to clear this. Yeah. And blue has still not come through the hoop from the right side, so blue will probably just be tapped into hoop position, forcing the jump from Jane maybe.
The pace of play has slowed. There's a bit more thinking needed at this stage.
Yeah.
So what would you do with yellow here?
I would be putting it in hoop position, I think. I would have
That
gone into
went
hoop position.
frighteningly close to both black and blue. And had no chance of getting in hoop round position, so I'm puzzled.
I don't know if she was trying to knock blue out or just get into position to come to the next hoop.
knocking blue out.
Would give her the hoop. Yeah.
Potentially give her the hoop.
And yeah, Helena's just tapped it, forcing the jump from Jane.
Did she not score the hoop then?
That's the wrong ball.
Well, she plays the wrong ball, but had she not, had Blue not scored the hoop? So I think
Sarah said Diggy the Mole will be over later with his mallet and wants to challenge the Aussies Roo to a game. So I think that's a
who's Diggy
battle of the
Mole?
mascots.
Who's Diggy the Mole? Do you know?
No.
Oh.
I know he was in a picture with the two penguins at the opening ceremony.
There's confusion reigns here because we thought surely Blue scored that hoop just then, thanks to Red. Now what's going on?
I'm not sure.
Surely, I'm very confused. If you replace Blue, doesn't Black get to play?
This was replace and replay.
So they've realised that.
Okay, so Blue ran that hoop with the jump.
Yeah.
So on the jump shots, if you do manage to jump and hit another ball which is closer to the hoop, if that ball runs the hoop, then that ball wins the hoop.
I'm going to have another chat with the referee. Yeah.
Yeah, Fran's also saying surely Black should have had another turn. Keith's going to go and just double check what's happened with the umpire or referee. Good clearance from Jane, keeping control of the hoop. Red is in a runnable position. Black's on the northern boundary, very close where the commentary is, so I'm going to keep quiet for a bit while they're playing a hoop too, so they don't get distracted by my voice. Good shot. Jack Wicks, he said you don't know why there should be a penalty for players using the wrong hoop. They're in the correct sequence. Any player can play any legal shot at any time, so how can that be a fault? I don't know. Again, that's something you'd have to take up with the people who make the rules, as far as I'm concerned. But that was the rules of yesterday when it happened, and that's what the refs adjudicated as to be the right outcome.
Can't diminish it.
Come in. We will be changing commentary. So I'd like to welcome Jamie and Jenny to the commentary booth.
Thank you. Or you sent. Sorry, you're going. Oh, sorry, we're just arranging ourselves.
Lots of cables.
That means that you get that one on your knee.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. We'll just be a bit quieter because we've got players playing up in our corner. But yeah, you have Jenny Clark from New Zealand and
Jamie Gumbel from Australia.
so yeah, we're going to have Alison here, but Alison seems to be driving backwards and forwards, delivering purses, and Alison's been amazing. She's been so busy and kept everything going. So anyway, Jamie, how are you enjoying the event?
It's been really good. Really enjoyed it so far.
Undefeated?
Yeah. In matches, I've lost a few games, but
And got the day off today.
yep. Got a bye this morning in this round, and then don't have a playoff this afternoon, so
Yep, 6 out of 6. There is no need for playoffs. Quite a nice feeling actually to come through having won all your games and just get to sort of sit and watch and cheer on your fellow players. So Jamie, you're from a croquet family, I understand.
sort of. My grandparents originally started playing. They got me into it. I think it's close to 8 years ago now. And then they took me down to the Camper Club, which is where I live, and was introduced to Peter Freer there, and he started coaching me. I'm now quite a bit better than he is, so
What's your handicap now?
I am now -3.
Good job. So where do you rank in Australia for croquet now?
For Australia, I'm around 4th. Really, it's just the Fletchers and Gary Phipps who are above me.
Yeah, I checked you out before we came, and you're very, very comfortably Australia's #1 woman.
Yeah.
And very impressively have got a match win, at least one against Robbie Fletcher in golf
Yeah,
croquet.
I actually have only ever lost one match to him, which was the one this year in the Australian Open.
Yeah, you still won a game in that match as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually not a lot of people that can say that. Which must mean that you're knocking on the door for the Australian Openshaw Shield team. Is that a target for you?
Yeah, haven't exactly considered that, but I guess, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's been such an amazing rise for you. But yeah, you say you've been playing for about 8 years. You played in the under-21s. That was in Australia, wasn't it? In Melbourne?
The under-21 Worlds, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've played in, this is my 5th World event. I played in the under-21 Worlds in 2017. And then I did well enough in that to get a position into the Open Worlds in that year as well. Then I again played in the under-21 Worlds here in England in 2019, and was also given a wildcard position into the Open Worlds, which was played here 4 years ago.
Great. So you didn't fancy coming back, or was it last year?
Yeah, last year sort of just with COVID and travelling and a few other reasons, just didn't or couldn't exactly make the time to travel over here for it.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of years it's been a bit less fun travelling, I think, because you're a bit more worried about borders or just getting sick and being a long way from home.
Yeah, but definitely with COVID sort of easing off now, this was more doable.
Yeah, I came here last year and got COVID, so fortunately I had some really good friends that put us up for a while and went and fed us. So you're telling me you've got study at university. What university are you at?
I've actually finished studying.
Yeah.
I did a Bachelor of Software Engineering. So that was at University of Canberra, and I finished that 3 years ago now.
So are you employed?
Yeah, I'm currently working at the University of New South Wales, which is in Canberra. That always confuses people, but I'm doing website. No. Sorry. What's it called again?
So do you run the websites there or design?
It's sort of employed through ADFA, the Australian Defence Force, so doing some data modelling and stuff for them.
Okay, proper software stuff.
Yep.
I have got a couple of questions. Someone's looking to join a local club in Melbourne. Sounds like you might be a Canberra girl, but you got any recommendations for a club in Melbourne?
I don't really know any clubs in Melbourne other than Canley, which I think they do have a club there.
Yeah,
Brimbank. Yeah, Brimbank, yeah. Other than that one, I have no idea about any other clubs in Melbourne.
So what club do you belong to?
I belong to Canberra Club.
Okay. Who else is there?
Which, at this event, there's actually 3 of us from Canberra. There's myself, Kate, and Gerda. Also Peter Free is here refereeing. He's also from Canberra.
Tim Murphy's club as well, is it?
Yep, that's Tim Murphy's also there. A lot of New South Wales people, like about half, would be Canberra in the state teams and that.
So you play for New South Wales, don't you?
Yes, because there's only one club in Canberra and ACT doesn't actually have its own state team or anything related to croquet state-wise. It's classified as part of New South Wales.
Sorry, just distracted reading these things. Someone says, Addison Matthews says, good to see you going well, we've been cheering you on. You've got a lot of support in Australia. There's a lot of people who've been watching the stream at crazy hours tonight.
Yeah, I know, like it's, what's the time? Is it 9 p.m?
Yeah, it's not too bad yet, but
yeah, I've had a few people stay up till like 2 a.m. and stuff and watching me play when I was being live streamed a few days ago.
yeah, I mean, well, when you were live streamed a few days ago, I saw you do a cracking jump from about 3.5 metres or more out. Beautiful shot. We've been using you actually as a bit of an example. You know, generally when we're doing the commentary, looking at people's grips and stance and things, and you've got a lovely, lovely Solomon style. And one of the key things that's so good about your style, or that I particularly like, is that you're really nicely balanced and really still as well. You know, it's a lovely, smooth-looking style.
Definitely, when I'm lining up to hit a ball, I just get my feet into position and then they just stay there.
Yeah, we were talking about the Egyptians yesterday. They tend to play an Irish grip, but they'll get themselves all lined up, their feet will move all over the place, and then they'll move their hands down the mallet. And obviously they're really, really good, but it's a style we don't tend to coach. We like to have people get their grip right, get everything right, then walk up to the ball and plant your feet and just have less moving parts really. So what block are you in?
I'm in block H.
Block H, right. So do you know how this block seniority thing works? The draw for the following bit of the knockout?
I think I know how it works. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's then seeded 1 through to 32, with 1 to 8 being the winners of the block, 9 to 16 being second place, 17 to 24 as third place and
25 to 32. Unfortunately, that is the way I'd like the draw to be seeded, and it's the way Australia does it, which is excellent, and it's the way England did it for the British Open, but it is not the way this is done. They have a thing called block seniority. So what they do is they put the people that came first, second, third, fourth in Block A in the top quarter of the event. They put the people who came first, second, third, fourth in Block B in the bottom quarter of the event, not playing each other, but distributed in that quarter. Your block will have a coin toss, and Block H will either play the people from Block A or from Block B. So you'll play either the person who came fourth in Block A or the person who comes fourth in Block B. But if you win, chances are you'll be playing someone else from your block again. So it's a funny old system. If anyone's interested in this, the Egyptians have very kindly drawn it up. So basically everyone from Block A is going to end up in the top quarter, everyone from Block B in the bottom quarter, Block C goes in the third quarter, so if the top person in Block C gets through, they will in the semi-final play the top person in Block B. It's a very strange system, which means you can only play something like 37.5% of the people. Hello, Phil. No, we're all good.
Okay.
Unless we're being chucked out. You good, Jamie?
I'm okay.
Anyway, we had sort of talked for 20 minutes, not looking at the game.
Yeah, I was about to say we haven't actually noticed what's going on. I think there was also a wrong ball play that just happened. I haven't exactly been keeping an eye.
So what do you reckon the wrong ball was? What happened there? It seemed to be back on.
I can't say. Meant to be commentating the game, but I haven't actually been watching.
Sorry.
But the score is,
Oh yeah.
I think it's 4-3.
I think we've got, good God, they're playing the wrong sequence again, third time. I'm counting. We will keep an eye on that. Our remit was we were told to come up and have a chat, so apologies, yeah. So what have we got? It looks like it's game one. Can you see a clip on the
No, I
feed?
can't see one.
So this is a bit of an important qualifying game. We'll just see if we can bring up the block. I'm not sure which block we're in. I think Sue needs to win this to qualify. Helena's in a little bit more trouble, so we've got Sue Lightbody. Have we? No, but Jane Stevens. I'm very sorry, Jane. God, I really haven't looked up. So Jane versus Helena. We'll see if I can find the block that they're actually in.
Not much help with looking at croquet scores because I don't have any internet on my phone.
Yeah, I got a an English SIM card, so you can get them, and it's about £10 a month. So they're not a bad option to just chuck one on your phone when you're here. You don't want to be paying roaming rates. I don't know what it is for Australia, but
I don't know. My mum got one, so I'm using her phone for any of that. I just don't have one myself.
it's pretty reasonable. Chris doesn't believe in phones at all, so I bought him one. So I'm getting that right. We've got Block B, and so back on track. We've got Jane Stevens playing Helena Jansson. Helena's on 1. I don't believe that 1 win's going to qualify because Garda Karem's got to play her number 7 in her block. So as the number 2 seed playing the number 7, it's less likely that the number 7 will cause an upset. So Jane's currently on 3 wins. She's in great nick, and if she beats Helena, then yeah, she's just through and comfortable. In fact, it does look like we can have playoffs because we've got Dallas Cook playing Lynn Piercy, and if Dallas loses, she'll be on 2. If Dallas wins, she's through. If Dallas loses and Helena wins, we will have a playoff. So they do have all to play for. Jane is just through. 3 wins is actually really good in this block of 7 to get through.
Yeah, it seems like having 3 wins is the goal to have a chance to get through. If you're 4, you're most likely through.
Yeah, 4's just through. 6 is pretty good, don't you reckon?
6 is pretty good.
Anyway, what's the score? You managed to spot that?
At the moment the score is, sorry, I'm not exactly good with the names of who's playing. I know you
This is Jane. So
Jane, yeah, so it'll be 4-3 to Jane.
yeah, nice clearance there from Jane, but just needs a little bit more power to get all the way over to the next 2. But good thing to do. Addison's asking how we're finding the average standard of players. It's an interesting question. The average standard it's reasonably similar, I think, but the top level isn't there as much. Obviously Rachel's a lot better than she was. Jamie's a fantastic addition to this event. You know, she's a genuinely strong player, as with Debbie Lyons, Gabrielle Higgins. So there are some really good players. The Egyptians, we haven't seen their A game yet. They're not playing as well as previously. So Soha's not using as much power, probably just building up. I mean, my standard for Egyptians is Iman El Faransawi, who was fantastic, aggressive. We're not seeing that power play. What do you think of the standard here that you've experienced, Jamie?
I'm finding that, like, it's really high level, of course. But yeah, I have noticed that, like, there's it's sort of hard to say for me in comparing it because of just the amount that my ranking has improved, and compared to everyone else that I've been improving quite a bit recently, and just trying to compare to how others are going is a bit inconsistent, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite different when your style and skill is still developing.
Yeah. But it does seem to be a bit less than what I would have expected.
Yeah, I think just the power of the hitting's not there as well.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that. Like, just I haven't noticed really anyone who's been absolutely belting the balls. Everyone seems to be hitting them with just enough force.
It's a bit of a shame, really, because normally the treat is to come here and just see the Egyptians absolutely smashing things. And Soha was doing a lot of that last year, particularly in the final. It was, balls just on boundaries everywhere. But I guess they're playing within themselves, maybe, because there hasn't been the need to smash balls yet.
Yeah, I always find that it's nice to have a ball on the boundary, but a lot of the time you only need it on the boundary, not completely past.
Yeah, there's not really been the need to smash balls because the standard of shooting's not been tremendously high either, I think. Rather unusual comment. Someone suggesting that the crowd sitting down near the current hoop loom quite intimidating. You can hear them heckling whenever Helena takes a shot. Don't believe that. Can you see any heckly looking people down there, Jamie? They all look pretty tame. I think it's all generally been played in a pretty good spirit here. I hope it has been. But yes, the poor Aussies walking through the long room at Lord's, that was all quite unfortunate. It's been interesting. I've got a lot of friends in Australia and England, so when they had the incident at Lord's where a player was wandering out of his crease, the English were saying this is very unsporting, and the Aussies were saying get over it, it's part of the rules of the game. And Yeah, the English coach has been known to do that before. He's a Kiwi, and it has been felt a wee bit guilty. So I think the weather conditions have affected the shooting. Good comment, Ailsa. Long's been a bit slower, really, and it's also a bit. Do you find when you're cold, it's a bit harder to sort of really swing cleanly?
Yeah, like I haven't exactly been too cold while I'm playing. Like, what day was it that was wet?
Tuesday, yeah.
It would have been Tuesday, yeah. I did find Tuesday. When I was playing, I did not notice the temperature at all, so it really didn't affect me that much. I did notice it during my warm-up of one of the games that I was a bit cold, but by the time I started playing, that was pretty good double clearance right there.
Lovely shot, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, in this game, if you can get a double clearance, you can get quite an advantage. And I seem to be providing my opponents with more double clearances than I actually hit. Which is frustrating.
Yeah, I usually like to keep the balls a bit separate, just so you don't give away that option.
Yeah, it just takes a moment's extra thought to just go, I'm not going to leave them this. And if you're trying to block, sometimes having the snuggle and actually going up to the ball, provided you can get close enough. Yeah, if you leave balls a couple of inches apart, you're still allowing some sort of bombard clearance. So you've grown up on Atkins hoop, these quadway hoops, haven't you, Jamie?
Yeah, I've almost never used the other ones. I don't know the names of them. Like cast iron hoops, or is there?
There's all sorts of brands of them. There's Hopewell hoops that were made by a really nice chap in Nottingham. They are unbelievably easy to run. There's some cast iron hoops called Ultras, which are South African, which are, in these sort of conditions, I find quite easy to run. You just stroke the ball and it will go through. The white hoops that they used last year at the British Open, you wouldn't have known yourself on them. Basically, you could just pop yourself on the boundary and just run the hoops, and yeah, you'd have probably rather enjoyed running long hoops on them. But yeah, these ones you've got will just spit you out.
Yeah, we have quadways in Canberra. They're the only hoops that we use, and I just always practice with quadways. I don't actually remember the last time I've played with, other than a bit of practice I did at Compton earlier this week that had them.
So you said you started playing was 8 years ago? So.
Yeah, it was I think it was 2015.
So how good's your brother? So you've got a brother who's 18, is he?
Yeah, so my younger brother Ethan, he's 18. He initially started when the under 21 Australian competition started doing a doubles, and I wanted to enter, but I didn't have a doubles partner, so I suggested that he entered with me. And he was very excited to be playing with me, and was actually surprised that I wanted to. But sort of since then, he's continued playing. We actually won that event as well as the year after. And it's only the most recent one that we didn't win, mostly because I was not under 21. But he went on to continue the streak of winning that competition with Curtis Mead. And he's also doing really well as well.
So he's just on the verge of the state team, isn't he?
Yeah, so this year for the New South Wales state team he's reserve. So I think that was sort of a last minute thing after seeing how well he was doing at the Australian Open. Beating Robert Fletcher in the block round, which he loves to boast about.
Again, great result. Robert is quality. So very nice result for Ethan. So in the state team, do you play mixed or same-sex doubles?
So it's mixed doubles in the state team.
So we could have you back together again.
Could. Although not this year, as he's a reserve, unless something drastic happens.
Is that a goal though, to play together again? In that?
Yeah, definitely. We recently had the New South Wales mixed doubles, or was it mixed doubles or was it just regular doubles? No, it was the regular open doubles, which we played together, and we won that just barely, and it came down to the tournament regulations, which I partly would agree that we should have come second, but due to the tournament regulations, we won it.
What were the regs? What happened there?
So, no, it was just a single round robin best of 3.
Yep.
And it came down to match wins.
Yep.
Then it went to games won, and then at net hoops. So we had the same number of match wins as second place.
Yep.
But our games won, or our games won were the same. Although net games won, we were one lower. But that didn't matter because that's not what it was based on. It was the games. And then it went to net hoops, which we had higher net hoops.
So you were second on net games though?
Yes, we were second on net games.
Oh, yeah, normally it's matches net games, which you'll be familiar with.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. So I assumed we'd come second until there was a discussion with the tournament manager and everything, and it was confirmed that it was based on games, not net games. So we ended up winning it.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward, but you do have to go with the regulations. So, well, congratulations on another title. Yeah, I do hope to get over to Australia and play in the Australian Open sometime, the Golf Croquet Open. This year, just a crazy number of World Championships.
Yeah, there's definitely been a few, and there's still... Is there still one more to go?
Yep, you won't be playing in that though.
Yeah, not mine.
That's the over 50s coming up, which after this year becomes the over 60s.
So it'll take even longer for me to play in it.
Yep. So how old are you now, Jane?
I am 22 now. I will actually be 23 in 6 days.
Okay.
I have to check the date for that one.
It's going to be a lot of years of you dominating this women's worlds. There've been a lot of different winners of the women's world, so hasn't been an Australian winner for a wee while.
Yeah, I think the last was Alex Burge.
Yeah, with that,
what I remember.
That stunning jump shot.
Yeah, I've seen videos of that.
Yeah, there's Chris uses it. He uses the saying to verge a hoop, which some people might think is derogatory, and it absolutely isn't, and especially since I've done a couple of those shots and I've thought to myself, I have a verge at this hoop. It's actually quite a complimentary one. It's from absolutely miles away to just have a go at running your hoop, often at quite a gentle pace. And I've had 2 of those just at a nice gentle pace, one of them which won a match for me. And it's just in recognition. When Alex won the Worlds, quite often she'd just go, I'm not really sure what to do. I've got a hoop 20 yards in front of me, I'll just run it. She was fabulous. But yeah, I think at some stage we will see another Australian name on that trophy. Give it a crack this year. If you don't get successful, do it next year or next time. Got many, many years ahead of you for doing that.
Yeah. So this hoop seems to be taking a while. They both seem to be fighting over it.
Yep, so the score is still
5-3.
5-3. So 5-3 to Jane. And yeah, as I said, if Jane wins, Jane's through anyway. If Helena wins, there's a bit of a mathematical chance of her getting a playoff. So today we've got the last round of play. We've got the sort of 3, 4, 5, 6 mini block where there's all sorts of possibilities for people to qualify or get playoffs. And we've got the 2s v 7s, which in most cases are people who have qualified against people who haven't, but not in all cases. And then we've got the excitement of the playoffs. which me and Jamie get to sit back and enjoy.
Yep, just sitting here watching it.
So what's your next tournament going to be after this?
My next one is 3 weeks after I get back, and that's going to be, well, actually 3 all in one. In Australia we have a national event every year, which is a combination of gold, silver medal, men's and women's open, and the interstate shield. So the first bit is gold, silver medal, which each state has a bronze medal, which I think 6 to 10 players from the state play off, and the winner of that goes forward and plays in the gold, silver medal. So I won the bronze medal this year, so I'll be playing again in the gold, silver medal. So that's the first one. Then there's the women's singles, which there's the men's and women's singles, so they're both anyone can enter. And then the last is the interstate shield, which each state puts together a state team of 4 men, 4 women, sometimes more, but that 4's the minimum. And then we have best of 2 games. So that's just 2 games. If you win both, you get a point. If you win 1 each, then no one gets a point. So
Okay. It's quite a good format, because like we found here with the best of 3s, when it goes to 3 sometimes, and you've been winning a lot of yours pretty quickly, you've got hours sitting out waiting for things to move on.
best of 2 definitely makes it more, so you know exactly how many games they're going to play, and it usually keeps everything so it's continuing on and finishing at the right time. Because we've also got 3 matches each day. There's a doubles in the morning, which is a mixed doubles, and then 2 singles in the afternoon.
Oh, it looks like we might see this tie broken at this hoop, possibly. Lena's got quite a big shot to save that. So you played in the gold and silver mallets. Gold and silver mallets or medals, is it? Medal. Last year, how'd you get on?
Yeah, so that was my first time playing in that event. It was definitely a lot, like a really tough competition. Like everyone's out there to win it. I did reasonably. I think I got 4th out of 6.
Okay.
But yeah, there were definitely some tough opponents.
Your first competition's always much more difficult as well. Just getting comfortable with it and getting used to it. It's the best of the best from all the states. So this year it'll be interesting to see how you go.
Yeah.
Is Alison coming back in time for the women's, or I mean,
from what I've heard, Alison's taking a break from croquet. I haven't heard much other than that.
Okay, I understand she's coming back at some stage, so this isn't a permanent break. Maybe it's this year. So who's your biggest competition then?
For the women's?
Yeah.
I feel like it again, Elaine Coverdale, who was runner-up last year.
Did you win it last year?
I did win it last year.
Very nice. Sorry, I saw you won the New South Wales women's, and I've kept track a bit, but
yeah. So last year I won the New South Wales women's and the Australian women's. I didn't actually play in the New South Wales women's this year. But going to be playing the Australian women's.
Does Australia still do the scholarships? New Zealand did them years and years ago, which were brilliant. So to let an Aussie come to or a couple of Aussies come to New Zealand, or New Zealanders go to Australia?
I'm not sure exactly. Under 21s did have a I think scholarship for the winner of the under 21 gold and silver medal to go to to go to New Zealand for the New Zealand Nationals,
Okay.
but there hasn't been much other than that.
Okay, yeah, they used to send people over, and it'd be lovely to have you come over to New Zealand for the for our nationals. Probably wouldn't look at targeting you coming for the New Zealand women's, because I think it was cancelled this year. Just didn't have as many players. I mean, some of your events just have phenomenal numbers of players entering them. But you know, our nationals it's a nice event. It's nice to come over and play people you haven't met, or play people you've sort of met here.
Yeah, definitely one thing I'm enjoying about this is just playing new people as well. Like, there are people I'm playing that I've never played before, which you do still get in Australia, but it's not at this high of a level. Because there are people here I've never played before, and they're also really good to play.
Yeah, and you don't know their game as well, because you sort of get used to how people that you know and play time and again play.
Yeah, like the people from Canberra, I know what they're going to do. Like, I know if Peter Freer can see a hoop, he's going to go for it. So I know to take account for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big difference, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people that you can just kind of nestle up next to, and instead of taking on the hoop, they'll clear you. So you can just, you know, let them get themselves gently out of position.
Yeah.
So a heads up, if you play Lynn Piercy, if she's in front of a hoop, she knows to go for it. Played her in the British women's semis, and she was good. She had lovely back ball control, and I left her a couple of 4-yard hoops. So I just dribbled up next to her going, she'll clear me. And she just went, I'm having none of that, and just ran her hoops. And Debbie Lyons left her a few hoops just to see how good her hoop running was, and that was good. So we've got a pitch invader here now. Cheeky little seagull come up.
I had a seagull come into my line in one of my shots and then walked out of the way. So I went up, stopped the ball, and then it just walked back right in front of me.
You'd be a bit annoyed if it just stayed there and deviated your ball as well.
Yeah, I think they'd normally move. In Australia, this happens a lot with the magpies. They just walk onto the lawn.
Yeah, any English people listening to this, Australian magpies are tough. They're not like your little wimpy English jobs. You've seen the English magpies?
Yeah, I have seen them.
Cute little fluffy black and white things.
Yeah, they're so nice. And then the Australian ones are awful.
When I was a kid, we used to have a couple of magpies running around that were sort of pets that had their wings clipped, and they were just nasty. They'd ambush you.
Yeah, they particularly like swooping cyclists.
Yeah, and especially if it's sort of nesting time, they get a bit aggressive.
Yeah, which if you're in Australia, that's why there's people running around with cable ties sticking up under their helmets.
Oh, okay, I've seen that. Did look a bit
That's for the magpies, so they swoop the cable ties instead of your helmet.
odd. Okay. Yeah, they can just be nasty, and they've got pretty well directed beaks when they want to.
Anyway, back to the croquet. Looks like Jane's about to run this last hoop to take the first game.
Yep, she's leading 6-3. It's nicely done. Jane's one of England's top golf croquet players. Helena's my teammate. So I have managed to qualify for the Oxfordshire inter-county team, and so they'll have a Kiwi and a Finnish player and a Welsh player. I think we've got an English player somewhere. Ralph Aline's English. So yeah, we'll have a brief break. I think these ladies will probably actually just get on with it straight away.
Yeah, I usually like to just get straight back to it. Have a quick drink, sometimes a biscuit or something, but
Yeah, it's nice.
Thank you everyone for joining us again this morning. We'll be switching over to our session 2 live streaming shortly. Come back to YouTube /@Croquet England. See you soon.